What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Emphasis on Sports. I'm your host, Damon Anthony, and as usual, I just kicked the bubble about sports. Call the emphasis on sports because we're talking sports, not personal life, not all the things going on in the world. And this is where I get to chit chat about sports. That's it. That's my deal. I really love sports. If I wanted to talk about something else, it'd be emphasis on something else, right? So let's get to it. So, first things first, just wrapped up week 3 of the NFL schedule. Very interesting week. The NFL is I can't even say it's NFLing out there. Really, it looks like there's only one really solid top tier team. It's going to be the Chiefs. Anybody else that you put in that conversation, you're kind of reaching. They're 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, and however you want to slice it, they just continue to win. We often hear things about the refs and all of that, and sure, they get some calls that go their way, on both sides of the ball. But at the end of the day, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. I mean, we've all heard different coaches talk about it. Those penalties in the fourth quarter, man, if you were doing what you're supposed to do in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you might be up 14, 17, and that little penalty doesn't count. Doesn't matter, so to speak. So I think with that, I'm not going to say the refs, the Chiefs, the fucking Chiefs, right? They do their thing. But let's look at the rest of the NFL. So I'm going to say this before I say anything else. I believe I was wrong about some things, people. I believe I was wrong. If nobody else can call me out, I'll call myself out. I believe I was wrong. And we'll get to some of that coming up, right? So, first game of the day that just like, wow, what the hell is going on? Giants at the Browns. I had the Browns winning. I actually, coming into the season, I had high expectations on the Browns. Browns are going to be all right. They might win their division. There's nothing that's telling me that they won't. They won't. They won't. The Giants, the lowly New York Giants, just went into Cleveland and kind of smacked them around. I mean, Amari Cooper had a pretty good game, but there's no way that the Browns come out of there only with 15 points. Got to do better, Browns. You absolutely got to do better. So Giants took home that dub. I was dead wrong about the Browns. The Browns look like these same old Browns. That's who they look like. Packers Titans. Packers won that one 30-14. I knew that the Packers were going to win. Tennessee doesn't look like a very good team. Will Levis, he looks like he needs to grow some. We'll give him the room to grow. This is only his second season in the league, so anybody calling for somebody's head this early, we'll get to some of that later too. But anybody calling for someone's head this early, you're doing a lot, because that's where you look at coaching, that's where you look at the team, that's where you look at the organization, how things are run, all of that. Those are the things that really, really, really hurt or help a first and second and sometimes third-year player. These guys have to learn. They have to figure it out. Right now, Tennessee just doesn't look good at all. Bears Colts. Colts at home beat the Bears. I kind of saw that one happening. The Colts aren't a bad team. I see that they're a little frustrating to watch. Anthony Richardson is a little bit all over the place, but at the end of the day, they get the job done. So kind of like Will Levis, he has room to grow, some things to learn, some ways to get better. Has a pretty good team around him, pretty good organization, kind of how they've always been. But, on the other side of the ball, Caleb Williams just continues to not impress. Every now and then you'll see a small little flash, but also realize, bro, this ain't college. You go out there against, when he was in the Pac-12, you go out there against Oregon, and their defense may have 3 or 4 pros. Well, you go out there against an NFL team, it's 11 pros on the field at all times, period. So it's a little different. The coaching's different. The coaching will catch your hitches, your little things. Caleb, hey, it's first year, you're 3 games in, you got plenty of room to grow. I won't even say the jury's still out. You got your 3 games in. You're fine. But Colts beat the Bears. There were a couple like that Browns Giants games. There were a couple finals and a couple games that to me were just like, wow, didn't expect that. Didn't expect to see that. Minnesota Vikings at home, defended home territory. Skull, right? And they knocked off the Houston Texans. The Texans have looked really good, I'll say maybe about since week 6 last year. There's nothing that was telling me that they couldn't go in there and beat Minnesota. I took the Texans, didn't win a dime on them, lost some money. You know what I mean? But the Texans, they couldn't get it done in Minnesota. Sam Darnold continues to look great. Sam Darnold is looking like what everyone expected when he was drafted. Now, the organization that drafted him has history of kind of being a dumpster fire when it comes to quarterbacks. But he's moved on. You know, he had his little stint in Carolina, had a stint in San Francisco, obviously learned some things in both places. And he's coming out and he's looking good. Team loves him. They're 3-0. I did not see this coming. I didn't see it coming. They're leading their division. Wow. But let's see how that plays out. I know Sam had tweaked a knee. He should be all right. Should be ready to ball on Sunday. Let's just see how that goes. But Minnesota's out there looking good. Another huge weird game to me was Eagles Saints. Eagles pulled out the victory 15-12, but the Saints only scored 12 points. They had scored over 40 points into last year. Nice, good stretch of games. Their offense looked not very good. They did a lot of moving the ball in between the 30s. Then you got to get a little closer. Maybe get a field goal or two more. Maybe Rashid Shaheed catch a couple of them balls. Alvin Kamara, who's looked like young Alvin Kamara. Let's get him to the point where he could punch him in. The Eagles, to me, continue to just, they look all right. They're winning the game to win the game. So you can't really shoot too bad at them because they do have W's on the board. But I think they could play a little better, which may be scary for the league. Just don't know. But in that one, I took the Saints. I thought the Saints were going to take that one at home. They did not. They absolutely did not. Another one I kind of saw coming, Steelers at home against the Chargers. Steelers won that one 20-10. There was nothing, I saw that one coming. The Chargers, while they did walk in 2-0, they played against two lesser teams at the beginning of the season. And the Steelers, to me, they look like a team that's figuring out their new identity. You got a new offensive coordinator. You got a new quarterback. Got a new backup quarterback. Deontay Johnson's gone. There's been some juggling, some moving. I think that offense is going to continue to get a little better step by step, day by day. They might be a problem in the AFC North. They're 3-0. They're looking around at these other teams like, what are you doing? Browns, 1-2. Ravens, 1-2. Bengals, 0-3. Whew. Meanwhile, the Steelers are sitting here 3-0, and they're still learning. They're still learning how to play with each other, and how to build, and how to really play a different and better offense. I think they're going to end up being really solid as the season goes on. We're also starting to see Justin Fields might not have been the problem in Chicago. He might not. Arthur Smith got a lot of heat in Atlanta for things that he would do, wouldn't do, his usage of certain things. Him and Justin Fields, maybe. Another shocker for me this week. Broncos at Bucks. This was one of those, for me, those no one care games, right? Broncos went in there and put something tough on the Bucks. No two ways about that. As I'm sitting in the man cave and I got all these different games on, that was a game that jumped off the screen at me because I couldn't believe it. I mean, Baker had been looking like what he was projected to be, when he was drafted. He had been looking like that this year. He looked like he really got a new home. Not saying anything has changed from that. Everybody has an off game, but boy, this was an off game. Broncos went in there. Bo Nix. He looked, the way the Bo Nix looked, you understand why Sean Payton won. If this team continues to play like this, not this year, they're not going to really matter this year. But if they continue to play like this, the future may be bright in Denver. It just may be bright. Another shocker of a game to me, kind of. Kind of. Panthers went into Vegas, beat up on the Raiders. So this one wasn't really a shocker because you get Andy Dalton back under center. Andy Dalton knows what to do. He was a solid veteran quarterback, been around for a while. Back in those Cincinnati days, if some things would have worked out here or there, it could have been a really damn good team. But he's bounced around a little bit, done the backup role well, took over for Bryce Young. Something that I mentioned earlier about your Will Levises, who, hey, it's his second year. You got to give him a little room. Same thing with Bryce Young. The bad thing about the Panthers, organizationally, they suck. Ever since Tepper bought that team, I mean, he doesn't let anything unfold. And that's what the NFL is. I think too many people watch the league sometimes and they think it's a microwave league. You walk in, you're good enough, you're going to win a championship. But guess what? There's a lot of teams. You know, if you're one of those 32, that means there's 31 other teams. And they all want the same thing. And some of them are built a little different. Some of them are ready to go right now. Some of them are trying to build for 3 or 4 years down the road. I think Bryce Young's been dealt a terrible, terrible disservice to himself. I mean, if Carolina's smart, they get him out of there. I don't think he's ever going to really do anything in Carolina. Go ahead and get him out of there. See what picks you can get. And for Bryce, hey, man, look around. Sam Darnold, he goes somewhere, and now he's looking like a stud. Baker Mayfield goes somewhere looking like a stud. You know what they have in common with you? That Heisman. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I expect there to be something going on with Bryce Young as far as get him out, maybe at the end of the year. And when that happens, I expect him to continue to play. Well, not continue to play because he hasn't played great. To play a little better. To kind of show us. Stop forcing the ball. There's times where you just got to eat it or throw it away. Don't put it into triple coverage. Don't put it into double coverage. Throw your guys open some. But we shall see. I mean, there's two sides of that coin, right? Now, on the other side of the field, the Raiders thought the Raiders might win this game, but the Raiders are showing some real deficiencies, especially in their quarterback. I like Minshew Mania. I like Gardner Minshew. He just seems like a dude you would drink a beer with, right? He seems all right. But if this team continues to play like this, they can go all the grit grind, all that they want. They're not beating the other teams in their division too often. They'll win some because it's divisional games. They're definitely not going to get into the playoffs. Definitely not going to make any noise. They're going to be a team that you're just hyped because you're a fan. Dolphins, Seahawks. Seahawks defended this one at home, 24-3. Totally expected this. This was definitely a no one cares game. Tua's out. Skylar Thompson is starting for Miami. Just doesn't look like a solid NFL quarterback. He looks like a guy. I mean, he's all right. He can throw the ball, but after seeing Tua, and then when you look around at the league, he ain't it. He's just not. And, you know, a lot of the players, A-Chain, Hill, Waddle, it's going to be hard to really get them going if no one's afraid of your quarterback. If I know all the time that I could just be in base defense and do what I need to do, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle back there. So definitely not a surprise. You know, Seahawks took that one down, no problem. Another huge game. This one, other than the fact I'm a Niners fan, of course, and I want to see the Niners play. Huge game. Baltimore at the Cowboys. This was one that I knew, you know, going into this game, you know 100% that neither one of these teams can really afford to lose. You know, Dallas is staring up at the Eagles. Meanwhile, Baltimore, you know, they're walking into this game 0-2 with Pittsburgh sitting over there 2-0 entering this week. So Baltimore had to get it done. Baltimore came out and played a damn good game till the fourth quarter. They played a damn good game. Fourth quarter, they almost choked that one up. They almost gave that one up. Showing me some things. Number one, Mike Zimmer, your defense isn't really that great. Everyone, you were highly touted. Everyone thought that the defense was going to be great. Now they're going to be this hell of a team. Baltimore did what they needed to do. They were just fine. On the Baltimore side of things, your defense has to tighten up going down the stretch of a game. It absolutely has to, because some teams are just going to take it over and win, and everything can't be on Lamar. Just can't. The dude's a phenom, but no phenom wins by himself. So while this one was a real entertaining one to watch, mostly because Dallas did almost come back to win. They put up a lot of points in the fourth quarter, definitely to get that thing close, get it like right there. They just couldn't knock them down. So then we had Niners Rams, right? Not gonna lie to you folks, this one kind of hurt. This season is oddly beginning to look like 2020 to me. I want to say that's the season. It's the season after the Chiefs beat the Niners to win their first Super Bowl in 100 years. This year so far, Niners they're injured. They're injured. Going to this game, no Debo, no CMC, no Kittle. Then on the defensive end, we're getting Hufanga back. Still don't have Greenlaw. Then coming out of this game, Hargrave's out, Brock back soreness. That being said, there's no excuses. And with this game, the thing that sucked the most about this game is with all of that, Niners should have won this game. But they didn't. The defense, the one thing that has been a pretty good calling card the last couple of years, is the defense let the game down. Now, Brock went out, and Brock did Brock. There's a lot of people out there in a lot of media circles saying that, oh, Brock, maybe he's looking like a top 10, top fiver. Man, we know that. This is what he's been doing. You know, you finally took away all of those toys that you say, this is why the guy looks good. He went out through almost 300 yards, 3 tuds, one of the higher quarterback ratings of the weekend. Shout out to Juwan Jennings, who Juwan Jennings came out there and looked like a receiver one. Brandon Ayuk, not so much. Got to get it together. It's a long season. Got to get it going. But as good as Brock and Jennings look, and Jordan Mason look, defense just couldn't get it done. Won't single anybody out. The defense just couldn't get it done as a collective. Special teams did not look good as a collective. The Rams did what they had to do to win. Tutu Atwell, great game. Kyron Williams, great game. And then, you know, Stafford, he knows how to win the game and how to take you down the field and put you in a position to win. That's one thing that he knows how to do. And the Rams, they did what they had to. You know, when a team doesn't look good on defense and you ram the ball down their throat and you have your guy out there that can get it that can get it done, you give him the ball and you roll. So, hey, next week we'll see what's up. This week, couldn't get it done. Right now, the Niners are sitting at 1-2. Now, I believe they'll be fine, but the truth is truth. They're 1-2. Ronnie Bell, you can't keep dropping the ball. Ricky Pearsall, we know you'll be back soon. Debo, we need you back. Let's get Jake Cowing in the game. Let's do something. Shake it up just a little bit. Shake it up a little bit, right? Next game on the docket was the Lions-Cardinals. So this one, I did kind of I expected more scoring, but the Lions did go into Arizona, handle business, get that dub, and they're sitting at 2-1. Still sitting behind the Vikings, but the Lions, they look like a team who they're just building some momentum, right? They got to get back to that balance of run the pass. Defense did pretty good against Arizona. Kyler Murray's he's looked solid this season. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to be an absolute stud, a la his pops. Big shout out Detroit. Keep winning, keep pushing. Last game of Sunday night was Chiefs at the Falcons. The Chiefs continue to do what they do. They're going to win games. You got to punch them in the mouth and keep punching. You can't just fist fight with them, man. You can't stand there, with both your feet in a tire and just throwing bows. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen with them. They do have Patrick Mahomes. He knows what he's doing. We haven't even seen Travis Kelce really do too much yet. I believe we will down the stretch of the game. But they went into Atlanta, knocked off the Falcons. Falcons have been playing decent ball so far this year, for a team with a new quarterback, with a new coach, with kind of a new landscape. I think that they'll be all right as the season goes on. I did pick Tampa Bay to win that division, and I stand by that at this point. But I think they'll be okay. Monday Night Football gave us two very interesting games. One was a blowout. One is where I'm going to say I was wrong. All right, that's the first one. Bills beat the shit out of the Jags, 47-10. Now I'm going to say going into the season, I did not expect the Bills to be that great, especially losing most of their receiver room. Now it's time to see what Josh Allen is going to do. If he can get it done, sure, I'll say that they can be great. But right now, all I'm seeing is Josh Allen get it done. Dude's out there slinging it. He's getting everybody involved too. You know, when you're seeing touchdowns from a little bit of everybody on offense, finally saw Dalton Kincaid, finally saw the rook Keon Coleman. They're looking good. They are. They lost a lot on defense. So with this game, one of two things. The defense is good, and the Jaguars are terrible. Jaguars are terrible. Now, you know, I didn't think they were going to win their division or anything like that, but wow. And then when you look at numbers and all of those things, Trevor Lawrence is just he's an average quarterback. He's just a guy. He's not like the guy. He's just dude. Like, he's all right. Something's going on down there in Jacksonville. If Tepper owned that team, Doug Peterson would be sitting here with me, but he doesn't. So Peterson still has. He's counting his weeks. You gotta look better because they look piss poor, as coaches used to say. Right, last game of the weekend, Monday night. This one was like an exciting bang, bang, back and forth. Like, didn't really see it coming. The Commanders knock off the Bengals in Cincinnati, 38-33. Now, this was a game, look, Jaden Daniels, he's balling. He's looking good. Happiest person in Washington right now, Scary Terry. Throw me the ball. Deep, I'll go get it. He came in, you know, Jaden Daniels came in. You know you're in Cincy. You know Cincy's 0-2. They got to win. You got Joe Burrow and all of this in there. Daniels said, let's go, baby. I ain't scared of y'all. Let's pop off. And they did, especially putting up a 38 piece. So now with this one, you know, Washington, you see that they have their guy. They're going to get better. They're going to build, right? Once again, just like I said earlier, it's not going to be a this year thing. They may look good. They may compete. I don't expect them to go on some terrible streak and all of that. But future looks bright. The future looks bright. Tell you where it don't look too bright. Cincy. Ever since that Super Bowl, Joe Burrow's looked like he's looked like a good NFL quarterback. Not this great. Not this, all these nicknames, not all the rhetoric that we hear, Joe Shiesty, all these, he just looks like a quarterback. He looks high. That's at best. You know, maybe it's a little bit of the injuries that are plaguing him. I don't know. But, you know, he had a crown on after that Super Bowl. Right now, man, just get that dude a visor, not a crown. You know, maybe he continues to grow and gets better. I would hope so. I got nothing against the dude, but they just don't look like a good team right now. You know, I saw a clip earlier. Shannon Sharp, he vastly disagreed with a crowd that was saying that Joe Burrow played well enough to win. And I understood the point when Shannon Sharp said no, and Swagoo hated that. And I'm going to tell you why. If you play well enough to win and you don't win, did you play well enough to win? Ask a Super Bowl loser, hey, did y'all play well enough to win? He'll say, hell no, we lost. That was his point. You can put up all the numbers that you want, but if you don't win, who cares? Purdy had a hell of a game on Sunday, but they lost. So who cares? That's the reality of it. So everybody can miss me with the Joe Burrow. He played well enough to win. Look at his numbers, blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. Fantastic. You're Dan Marino. And Dan Marino is one of the all-time greats. Don't get it twisted. But there's a reason why when you hear best ever, you hear Brady, you hear Montana, now you're hearing Mahomes because they won. They won. They put trophies, rings. You can be great, but if you don't have that, it's not putting you over the top. Simple as that. All right, so next up, we got a hell of a week coming in the NFL, a hell of a college football week. That's going to be real fun. But there are some other things going on in sports. Let's talk about those. All right, so baseball, playoffs is on the way. We know that. The playoffs is right around the corner, right? The standings wise, it looks like the Yankees are going to wrap up their division. They have not clinched it yet, though they're up by 6 games with 6 games to go. So pretty much they win one, Baltimore loses one, or if they win, all they got to do is win a game, and they're good. Cleveland has clinched their division. They're still 2.5 games behind the Yankees for the overall AL home field advantage. Cleveland has 5 to go. Yankees have 6 to go. So we need some wins, some losses there just to move the Guardians into that spot. Even though I think they'll be okay either way, but you always want to be at home, right? In the AL West, nobody's clinched. Houston and Seattle, they're sitting there kind of deadlocked, but Seattle is 4 games back. There's a couple games to play. If Houston can just go ahead and win 5 games, they're good. They're good. Really, if they can win 4, let's go ahead and get up out of here, right? In the National League, Philadelphia Phillies have clinched the NL East. They're one of those teams that is kind of cool to see them do well because they do have a raucous crowd. They might not be as big of assholes allegedly as Philadelphia Eagles fans, but it does seem really fun watching them play. Especially Bryce does something great. Everyone's going crazy, right? NL Central, Brew Crew took that down already. Lock them in. NL West, right now the Dodgers, they're still in the race with San Diego Padres. They got a 3-game lead. Now, I think the Dodgers are going to represent the NL. I think I said the other day, my World Series matchup going into this is Dodgers versus the Guardians. Be really cool to see. I have to see how the playoffs play out because if that's the matchup, I'll give you my prediction then. It's going to be a little tough to call. That being said, like, hey, look, baseball playoffs are always cool and they're around the corner, right? The last thing I'm gonna go over today: WNBA playoffs started on Sunday. New York Liberty, the Connecticut Sun, the Las Vegas Aces, the Minnesota Lynx. They all lead 1-0 right now. That's about what I thought was going to happen. I do think Indiana does have a chance. They do have Caitlin Clark, who's a baller, who's an absolute baller. But that's where we're looking right now. I think I picked the Liberty, the Sun, the Aces, and the Lynx. My finals prediction in that arena, I'm going to say Las Vegas Aces versus the New York Liberty. Liberty, they're just coming with too much, right? Also want to say cheers and congratulations to Asia Wilson taking home the WNBA MVP as she should. This has been a reoccurring topic on this podcast because it's been absolutely wild. This stuff with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and yada 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 and all of that. Caitlin Clark took home the Rookie of the Year. Very well, very much deserved. Caitlin Clark, monster. Cheryl Swoops, tripping. Caitlin Clark has been doing her thing. But, said it before, I'll say it again. Asia Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. Period. For those that want to argue that, I remember the hype surrounding LeBron James when he got drafted and came into the league. Bigger hype than Caitlin Clark. Maybe about the same. But the hype machine was there. But when LeBron came in the league and looked around, he wasn't the best player in the damn league. You knew he was great. You knew he was going to be great. He had no problem with any of that. I had no problem with them saying he's going to be one of the next. He's going to be anything like that. He wasn't better than Kobe. He wasn't. Period. Throughout his years. He hasn't always been better than Durant, Steph, Dwayne Wade. Luka, 2011 Finals, best player on the floor, Dirk Nowitzki. Second best player, JJ Barea. Let's keep it real. That being said, as good as Caitlin Clark is, and as good as she came into the league, doesn't make her the best player in the league. It makes her the best rookie and a top tier player. As long as she continues to stay healthy, she'll be just fine. But today, it's Asia Wilson. And check the swag, check the style. She's a ball player, One thing that I absolutely love, is watching NBA players and WNBA players when they're coming into the arena, when they're coming to the game, right? Because there's a certain level of fashion, and it's kind of cool, right? I mean, I'm not that big of a fashion person like that. I got on an Atari T-shirt right now, but it's real cool seeing people walk in with their swag, whatever that swag may be. When you see Asia Wilson come through in gray sweats and a white tee, you know what they say about gray sweats? It looked like she's coming to work, to put in work. Not for any of that other stuff. Now, we also saw when Becky Hammond told a couple of her starters, street clothes, because you're not going in the game, that she could put it on with, like all the rest of them girls, because she wasn't going to work. She's not coming to put in buckets and get boards. She's coming to just chill with her people. So she threw that thing on. But I love to see her walk into the arena ready to go. Only thing missing is Tim's and a cigarette behind her damn ear, because she ready to rock. Love it. So the WNBA playoffs will continue. We'll keep talking about those, and we'll just see how that shakes out. I know some of these games are going to be absolutely electric. I'm going to tune in, when I tune in, because it's just always good stuff to watch. And we'll talk later this week. Definitely got to talk some college football as that goes. See kind of what keeps going on with college football. There's not really too many just great teams. There's no, I don't think, behemoth out there. So this season is going to be real intriguing with the 12 team playoff. So we'll see what happens there. We got to preview the NFL, and then the playoffs and baseball around the corner. And we got to go through that step by step, because that is going to be fantastic. All right. So until next time, peace, one love. Hey, either be good or be good at it. I'll holler.